Just before this video starts, I just want to let you know that it's going to be a bit of a heavier one. There's going to be discussions talked around SA and SH and other various kind of sensitive topics. So just want to let you know before I do start in case this does trigger anyone, and let's just get into it. Hello donuts! Today I want to discuss an experience, something that I have dealt with, been through when I was younger. But before I get into my own experience, I want to kind of talk about why I want to talk about this, because recently I came across a TikTok and an article of somebody that had been through something that I'd been through, and unfortunately they didn't make it through it. This article is centered around a boy called Murray Dowie, who was only 16 years old. And in December last year, he actually unalived himself because of something called sextortion. And his family did an interview about this, how they didn't know anything about it.
Can't believe it's gone.
We were just chatting and watching rubbish on telly, and he went up to his room as normal. It transpires he was contacted by somebody claiming to be a young girl.
That young girl was actually a scammer who tricked him into sharing an intimate image and blackmailed him with it. Just hours after he'd become a victim of sextortion, Murray took his own life.
You know, he's my little boy. To think of my little boy in such distress and not to have reached out for help, it's awful. I don't want this to happen to any other family.
Even watching that, it makes us want to cry. It's really awful, and it really brings up a lot of memories for me. And before I talk about my experience, I just want to send my condolences to Murray's family, because this is honestly one of the most awful things I've ever heard, and it's not talked about enough. And so many people go through this and nobody talks about it. I'd never hear anybody talk about it. If you don't know what sextortion is, it's the practice of forcing someone to do something, particularly to perform sexual acts, by threatening to publish naked pictures of them or sexual information about them. And now I just want to talk about my experience, because like Murray's mum said, she doesn't want anybody else to go through this experience without telling someone. And I've always thought, like, there's no point in talking about it really, because people have things worse, and I always used to convince myself, like, there's like, this isn't that bad, when in reality this kind of destroyed my life for years. So yeah, basically I went through the exact same thing, where when I was younger, somebody like pretended to be a young girl when I was young, and I think they actually pretended to be like a couple of years older than me, and they started messaging us, and I thought, I was kind of intrigued, because the thing is, when they started messaging me, I was only 12 years. Fuck no. Whew. I was only 12 years old. So I was in year 7, and I was a very shy kid in school. You know, I didn't really, I was shy in even a friendship group. I didn't really get much attention in any group that I was in. So when somebody messages you, you kind of, you know, it's kind of like, for someone like me, it was like, wow, this person's interested in me, I'm going to pursue this, you know. I would never even think it would be fake, because at 12 years old, you just don't even really think about those sort of things. Basically, they started speaking to me. We were just texting to begin with, and this maybe went on for months, with me being 12. Then it later went into them calling me. Like they would always call me, like it seemed like nearly every single day, and this went on for about, you know, maybe a year of just calling quite a bit. And then I would speak to them, and they would always, like, even thinking about this now, it's really difficult to talk about, because I can still hear what it sounded like. They would always whisper on the phone, so I could never really figure out what their voice sounded like. And then, you know, when I got to like 13, 14 years old, they would ask me to go on camera, and, you know, ask me to do things. And I just went along with it because, you know, I was only 13, and I didn't really know any different, I guess. You know, even talking about this now, I always for so long blamed myself, because I was like, how can you be so stupid? And realizing that, you know, this might not be what it was. But anyway, I would never see their face, but they would always convince me that they were this person that their profile said they were, when in reality that later I found that wasn't true. I ended up doing things on camera for years, you know, because I was constantly being blackmailed by them. When I said I didn't, like, I was literally begging, saying I don't want to do this anymore, they would threaten me and say that they were going to send, you know, stuff to my family, stuff to my friends. And this, as like a 12-year-old, as like a 13-year-old, that is like, you feel like that is the end of your life. Like when I saw the story about Murray, he was 16, which is still incredibly young. Like, to this to happen to you at all is awful, but even at 16 is horrendous. And obviously he took the steps he felt like he needed to unalive himself, because I know how he would have felt. I know exactly the feeling of feeling like you can't speak to anyone about it because you feel so ashamed. I didn't tell anybody about it. I've never told anyone about it, only very close people. Fuck. Oh, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. I've never told anyone about it. And I even myself, I did try and unalive myself a couple of times over it, because I just felt like this was going, like, to me, doing that was easier than it coming out and having to go through that. Do you know what I mean? Photos and everything, because I don't know why at the time, but a couple of times I felt like that was the only way out. Especially at like, you know, 13 years old, to want to, you know, do live yourself is and actually planning it is and is it's, you know, and feeling like you couldn't speak to no one. Sorry, fucking hell. I've never spoken about this open before. It's just, I wish that people would know that they can speak about it, because I felt like I was the only person ever to go through this. And then when I read the comments on this TikTok where ITV News uploaded it of Murray's family talking about it, loads of people were saying that they've been through the same thing and they thought they were the only people going through it. And me reading this like a couple of days ago made me realize, like, this is such a big, wider issue, and it's never talked about. Like, it's never even talked about in school. Like, not once in school did I ever get taught how to go about, you know, realizing if someone is not who they say they are. Like, I don't know if it's been taught in schools now, but if it's not, it has to, because this is a big reason why people struggle with their mental health. So yeah, they continued to blackmail me. I made lies up that my family were in the police and they could track them. Like, at this point I was like, anything that I can do to kind of make sure that nothing like that happened. They somehow even got my phone number. I said earlier in this video they were ringing me, but that was only on Skype. Whereas when they got my phone number, they could ring me even more at that point. And it got so bad that I would be like with my family watching football, watching something, and they would ring me and I'd have to answer. And if I didn't do what they wanted at that specific moment, they were going to threaten to leak everything that night. And this would happen so often, and the effect this had on my anxiety was absolutely mental. Like, this, looking back, I have bad anxiety today, and I really do put it down to this experience I went through from the age of 12 to about 16. I put this heavily down to what I experienced then, because I felt like I could never relax. I felt like going out in public, anybody who I look at, that could be that person who is exploiting me, who is... Sorry, I feel like I'm going all over here. I'm just literally speaking how I feel. I then later, when I got to like 16, 17, I felt like I had to get a hold on this, and I had to change this. Otherwise, I was gonna, you know, I was gonna do something that would lead to the end of my life. And one thing that I did was I the phone number I'd had all over the years, I changed it, because I was like, this can't happen anymore. I need to just get rid of this part. Even talking about it now, I just feel scared, and I don't know why. And I just want people to know, if you are going through this even right now, just know that you can speak to someone. Like, you can talk to your parents, you can talk to friends. Like, it is embarrassing, and I'll admit, it's one of the... You feel ashamed, you feel so many different emotions. But one thing I've come to terms with and realised as I've got older is you can't blame yourself, because I blamed myself and hated myself for so long that I went through this, and at 12 years old I decided to do this. But you've got to realise that the only person that should feel ashamed is the other person, is the person that, you know, did the essay, the groom, and all of that. They are the ones that are to blame here. And if you tell people you can get help, that's the first step, and it's the one thing I regretted that I never did. One thing I did find interesting on the interview with Murray's parents when ITV were doing it, they released some stats.
ITV News has been given exclusive data from the Revenge Porn Helpline, who have seen sextortion cases rise by a massive 54%. Most of those were men. But the helpline only takes reports from over 18s, so the scale of the problem in teenagers is unimaginable.
The fact they don't take calls from under 18-year-olds is absolutely ridiculous, as these are the people that arguably need the most help. These are the people that are feeling the most alone. These are the people that feel like nobody can help them in this situation. And moving on, I'm going to be reaching out to organisations, charities that I can kind of help, kind of just bring some, whether it's a law, whether it's just something to help people under the age of 18, and anybody that is going through the same thing that I had to go through. Because like what Murray's mum said, I don't want anybody to go through this, but I don't want anybody to go through this and feel like they can't speak to anybody. Sorry, this isn't, you know, my usual upbeat like funny videos, donuts, but I just want to let you know that right now I am in a really good place. Like, you can probably tell from my videos, like, I absolutely love what I do. I'm finally in a place in my life where I've come to terms with what happened, and you know, I was angry for so many years, and now I don't even feel angry anymore. You know, I've just accepted it. And yeah, I just want to say again, thank you so much for all of the support you guys show me, because even I get messages all the time where you'll talk about your mental health, and I don't know if it's, you can just watching me, you can see that maybe it's the things I say that I go through these things. But I just want to let you know that whatever struggle you're going through, even if it's nothing to do with what I've discussed in this video, you can always get help, and getting help by the main thing is talking to someone can help so much. Just want to end the video on that note, and just again thank you for making my life now so fun and so amazing. And yeah, see you donuts.